Hey there, me again. So today we're going over a part of the second book, the Intermediate's Guide to the Mystery Sciences, where I sort of catalog astrology and history. So today's video is about astrology in Mesopotamia, kind of like in the Western world where it all began for us. All of our like constellations and planets and everything come from this lore, I guess you could say. But yeah, starting at our beginning in the Western world, Mesopotamia. Before the Indus and Nile rivers were home to great kingdoms and cultures, the Tigris and Euphrates rivers held the cradle of the world. These two rivers and the land between them were once called Mesopotamia, the land between rivers. Mesopotamia was not one culture, but a collection of cultures which popped up as agriculture found its place in human history. Modern-day Turkey, Iraq, Syria, and Kuwait are the great-grandchildren of a community of empires. The Akkadian, Babylonian, Persian, and Assyrian empires are all noted in history to have been the premier competition for India, China, and Egypt in wisdom, agriculture, architecture, warfare, science, astrology, medicine, and mathematics. I just want to say that's all the stuff that Thoth was the god of, just saying. Many ancient cities of this era were powerhouses of cultures and traditions which shaped the later powerhouses of Greece and Rome. In 1847, 100 years before the Dead Sea Scrolls, Austin Henry Layard, an English archaeologist, discovered, identified, and claimed the remnants of the city of Nineveh. The city was a major trade city for many ancient peoples and was even mentioned in the Christian Bible as a target for prophetic teaching among its many sinners. Among the archaeological findings were an impressive collection of stone sculptures, reliefs, and tablet writings. The tablets were written in cuneiform, a later, more formal form of writing adopted by the Babylonians after intermingling with Akkadian influence. 22,000 tablets were discovered there, with pieces of the ancient world's beliefs, laws, merchant trade, schooling, and cosmologies. In the tradition of these tablets, such as the Enuma Elish, we learned the long-lost astronomical and astrological beginnings of cultures and religious systems with which we are already somewhat familiar. Replacing Egypt as the Western world's eldest matriarch in the ways of civilized culture, the lands of Mesopotamia were then realized to be the great leaders of astrological and therefore scientific knowledge. The Christian Bible speaks about the land of Babylon being the capital of heathen culture, so much so that the city itself becomes a symbol of world-ending terror and devastation to the ways of the Hebrew/Jewish/Christian people. Interestingly, however, history shows us that rather than destroy the Semitic peoples, the civilizations of the ancient Fertile Crescent assimilated the Semitic culture, and both now carry the same traditions, though attributed to presumably different deities. Speaking of deities, Sumerian deities are thought to be representative of the planets and their part in the gravitational bending of space-time for the purpose of creation of all life in our galaxy. Zacharias Sitchin was the fortunate soul to translate this legend into the English language. He then wrote a book detailing his findings and what his instincts told him the deeper meaning behind it all could look like. His book, The 12th Planet, takes the story of the gods, Anki, Enki, and Enlil, another holy trinity, and turns it into quantum physics at the level of cosmogenesis. And then there's like a genealogy, like a big picture, like family tree. Okay, so now I want to go over like the cosmology, like the lore of it all, which is super fun anyway, and no matter what culture. The creator in Sumerian tradition is Namu. Nam meaning create, and Mu meaning seed. This is the same as the Ansaf Or of the Kabbalistic tradition, the Brahman of the Hindu, and the primordial chaos of the Egyptians and the Greeks. This is the first energy, the sleeping state of consciousness overall. Because this first energy was dormant, it was considered feminine. The sleeping ultimate cause then started dreaming. Dreaming is creation, therefore activity. Activity itself is masculine in nature. Therefore, the primordial sleeping woman created her own mate. This coupling created the basics of all creation. And this reminds me of the pirate song, Hoist the Colors. You know, the king and his men stole the queen from her bed and bound her to her bones. That's all I can think of right now. First, the mother goddess created space, An, and form, Ki, which later became known as the heavens and the earth. These energies, being masculine and feminine, are the first powers in all creation. To bring her dreams to life, she must first create a space to put them and then give them form. Namu's second creation is the first in most later cultural retellings, the primordial waters, Enki, and meaning Lord, and Ki, as we recall, is form or earth, and Enlil, and meaning Lord, and Lil meaning air. So the twins, born of the ultimate cause, are space and form. Anki, as they would be remembered as one energy, who then bear witness to the creation of the next set of twins, the Lord of Form and the Lord of Air. So Anki is one, and then Enki and Enlil. If this isn't fractalization between dimensions, I don't know what is. These are all still just ideas at this point. There's been no manifestation of matter thus far, only the desire, environment, and idea to create. The primordial waters are a complex subconscious abyss where all matter originates in its idea. From this abyss, we derive the spirit of air, Enlil, and the spirit of earth, Enki. Air, as we know, is consciousness, masculine, and earth is manifested form, feminine, which is ever-changing in its growth. We also have light, consciousness, and darkness, form. Now we drop down into the sixth dimension where the archetypes created in the above can grow through solidity in the realms below. Primordial waters first make beings in their own image. Apsu, the god of fresh waters, and Tiamat, the goddess of the sea or the salt waters. Apsu means the beginning or deep waters. And Ti means life. A is water. And Mat is abyss. So life, water, abyss. Tiamat means the watery abyss of life. Some customs refer to the same as Tiamatu, which adds the suffix u, meaning sleeping. So then you have the sleeping watery abyss of life, or the watery abyss of sleeping life. The sixth dimension duality represents the consciousness, masculine, and the subconscious, feminine. So now we have the dreamer, Namu, space, An, form, Ki, the spirit of form, Enki, the spirit of air, which counts as the spirit of space, right? Enlil, the beginning, Apsu, and Tiamat, or Tiamatu, the abyss of sleeping life, which would be the feminine of Apsu. So you have three twins. It's trigeminal, right? So the dreamer is kind of the all, right? And then you have the twins of the eighth dimension. So the dreamer in the ninth dimension is the all. And then you have the eighth dimension twins, which are space, which is an exhale of the Brahman, and then form, which is an inhale of the Brahman in the eighth dimension. And then you drop down into the seventh dimension, and you have the spirit of form, which is the exhale, and then the spirit of air, which is the inhale. Now you have seventh dimension twins. And then the sixth dimension twins, the beginning, Apsu, is the exhale, and the abyss of sleeping life, Tiamat, is the inhale. So you have the trigeminal sets of twins in the eighth, seventh, and sixth dimensions. So then drop down into the fifth dimension. Apsu and Tiamat have an advisor named Mumu. His name means one who was born. It would seem that even in the sixth dimension, water plus fire still equals air. So Mumu, born from the electromagnetic charge of the conscious and subconscious mind in space, becomes the wisest mind, having properties of both predecessors, and it filled the void. We call this aspect the collective consciousness. It is the possibility of a hive mind having multiple forms simultaneously. This collective conscious has the capacity to be everywhere in space all at once, for all of space is its home. Everywhere from the subatomic particle to the largest gas giant and all spaces in between. It is the mother of quantum entanglement. It is the father of the photon. When Mumu is born, lightning is the result. And in the fifth dimension, there was light. Fiat lux. Fire, water, air, and earth began as an idea. This idea split apart like cellular division, and one became two, two became four, each portion filling the space with its light. Lamu, Lahamu, Anshar, and Kishar are the fifth dimension reflections of possibility dreamed by the dreamer in the far regions of the higher planes. Some suggest that these gods are materialized in the planets Mars, Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn. Lamu and Lahamu were twins, as were Anshar and Kishar. La means not, and Mu means seed, or sometimes water. That is vague, but we can piece together the puzzle with added information about the allegory. Mars and Venus are said to be represented here in Lamu and Lahamu. That is certainly a possibility. What do we know about the gods, Mars/Aries and Venus/Aphrodite? They represent war and love, masculine and feminine, positive and negative, fire and water. And as we remember, An means heavens, and we interpret that as space in general, not only the space above us, but also the spaces within and all around us. Shar means whole or entire. Anshar, then, was a name for the whole of the heavens. There is power in a name, they say. To call one by their name is to cause them to come into being. Ki, as we recall, means earth or form. Thus, Kishar is a name for the entirety of earth. Kishar translates into English as foremost of the firm lands. This could be the cosmic dust from which all things were formed. The whole of the planets and galaxies they exist within, and everything in between. The interpretation is in the eye of the beholder. With that being said, let us pause for a moment to look back at the Enuma Elish and discover the source of these interpretations. There's a lot of that in this chapter, sorry.